Welcome to another explainer. Today, we're asking a question that probably sounds completely impossible. What if healthy eating is actually one of the reasons you keep gaining weight? I know, that sounds crazy. Because most of us still believe weight management is just a simple math equation, right? Eat less, move more, problem solved. But modern metabolic research is revealing something far more complicated and honestly, far more fascinating.
Okay, let's dive into this, because we really have to rethink that old calories in, calories out myth. We're about to uncover a real biological detective story here. Because the truth is, the foods you're eating might be perfectly healthy, but the biological environment you're dropping them into, well, it might be actively fighting against you.
Just imagine two people for a second. They sit down and eat the exact same meal with the exact same calories, but their bodies respond completely differently. One person burns that energy efficiently. The other, they store more fat, they feel hungrier sooner, and they struggle to lose weight no matter how healthy they eat. It just proves our bodies are not simple calorie calculators. So, what's actually happening? Well, our first big clue isn't even about what you eat.
Section 1. The timing trap.
Now, what's really interesting here is that your metabolism is not equally efficient throughout the day. Your body actually runs on an internal biological clock called the circadian rhythm. Earlier in the day, say around 8 a.m., your insulin sensitivity is generally at its peak. Your body is biologically primed and ready to take carbohydrates and use them for energy. But follow this timeline into the evening, and everything starts changing dramatically.
When you eat late at night, you're actively conflicting with your own biology. As it gets dark, your body produces melatonin. But here is the critical detail that almost everyone misses. Melatonin actually inhibits insulin secretion. It literally tells your pancreas to power down. So if you eat a large, healthy, carb-rich meal right before bed, your body gets flooded with glucose at the exact moment its ability to process it is shutting down.
And those consequences cascade right through your system. Your peripheral clocks, the ones in your liver, your gut, your muscles, they get totally confused. Your resting energy expenditure drops. Researchers have even pinpointed a specific gene, MTNR1B, that affects melatonin signaling and pushes your glucose sensitivity down even further. So that perfectly healthy bowl of brown rice eaten at 10 p.m., biochemically speaking, that is a completely different meal than if you'd eaten it at 1 p.m.
Section 2. The naked carb problem.
Now, this is where so many healthy eaters accidentally sabotage themselves. We're talking about foods like fruit bowls, plain oatmeal, smoothies, rice cakes, or even those healthy-looking protein bars. Technically, a lot of them are healthy, but when you eat these carbohydrates completely by themselves, without enough protein, fat, or fiber to slow down digestion, they dump glucose into your bloodstream incredibly fast. We call these naked carbs.
And this brilliantly illustrates the blood sugar roller coaster. You eat that naked carb and bam, your glucose spikes. Your body panics and releases this massive surge of insulin to deal with it. But because of that huge overcorrection, your blood sugar rapidly crashes right after. And that crash really matters. Your brain interprets that unstable blood sugar as a potential energy crisis, so it hits the panic button in your brain's reward center, triggering intense hunger and fatigue maybe just an hour or two after you ate your healthy breakfast. Your body literally never achieves stable satiety.
So the fix here is something called food synergy. It's this awesome concept of the additive effect. Basically, two or more nutrients working together have a much greater and much safer physiological impact on your body than if you just ate them individually. You don't need to give up your carbs. You just need to dress them up so they aren't naked. Let's see how this builds using the P.F.F. strategy. That stands for protein, fat, and fiber. Protein is a large molecule, right? It acts as a metabolic anchor and digests super slowly. Healthy fats act as activators, slowing down your digestion even more. And fiber acts kind of like a net, slowing the release of those sugars. So, a naked apple, spike and crash. But an apple plus almond butter, sustained energy. By adding synergy, you completely change your hormonal response.
Section 3. Stress, sleep, and survival.
Your metabolism is not just a calorie processing machine. It is a survival system. This is so important to understand. When stress becomes a constant in your life, a network in your body called the HPA axis activates, and it just floods your system with cortisol. When cortisol stays elevated day after day, your biology is forced to make a very tough choice. It stops prioritizing metabolic efficiency and it starts prioritizing keeping you alive.
In this survival mode, your body literally becomes resistant to letting go of stored energy. It actively hoards belly fat, because visceral fat is packed with cortisol receptors, so your body is basically hoarding fuel for a famine. Your active thyroid hormone drops.
And wildly enough, severe calorie restriction or aggressive intermittent fasting can act as massive additional stressors. You're just trying to diet, but your biology genuinely thinks you are starving in a war zone.
And if you pair that chronic stress with poor sleep, the cycle just feeds itself. Just a few nights of sleep deprivation completely rewires your hunger hormones. Ghrelin, the hormone that makes you hungry, shoots way up. Leptin, the hormone that makes you feel full, plummets. Your exhausted brain starts crying out for fast dopamine, usually craving sugar and processed foods. You aren't lacking willpower at that point. You are fighting a biologically mandated drive to consume energy.
Section 4. Sending the right signals. So, the crucial point is, what actually helps? First, stabilize your meal timing. Try shifting those larger meals to earlier in the day when your insulin sensitivity is at its best. Second, no more naked carbs. Always anchor them with protein, fat, and fiber to keep your glucose steady and improve satiety. Third, you've got to aggressively prioritize sleep, because an exhausted nervous system will always overeat and resist fat loss. And finally, reduce those chronic daily stressors as much as you can, so your survival system can finally power down. And maybe the most important realization of all is this. If you've been struggling, it's so easy to think your body is just broken. But it isn't. Your body is doing exactly what it evolved over millions of years to do. It is surviving. The real problem is that our modern lifestyles just constantly send it the wrong signals. But now you know the rules. So ask yourself, if your body has been fighting this incredibly hard just to survive, what kind of amazing things could it do if you finally made it feel safe? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.